Alright, so this is future Justin realizing that I completely forgot to do an intro for this video. So, today we're going to be talking about the Riland, the Multipro 200 SP, this guy right here. So, just want to give you guys an explanation of why you're seeing so many welding review videos and welder review videos is because the market is starting to get flooded with these overseas manufacturers that are making these welders. Now, if I can get my hands on them and tell you guys which ones to buy and which ones to not buy, then I'll be doing my job as an informative person who is trying to get you to not waste your money. So we're going to get right into the video on this Multipro 200 SP. I'll tell you what I think of it.
Don't worry about that little guy.
Alrighty guys, so we got ourselves another Riland welder. They loved us so much, they wanted to send us a new welder, which is awesome. And we're going to go ahead and unbox this guy and see what all it comes with. So let's start with this nice big package here, which I'm assuming is probably the MIG gun. And yes, that is all the consumables, or the consumable holders. So we have our stick welding stinger. If we could get it out of the damn box. We have our stick welding stinger. We also have our MIG gun, which looks to be pretty good quality. Actually, that looks to be really nice quality. Wow, okay. Super clicky button. That's nice. And then we've got what looks like our power cord adapter so that we can run this thing on 110 or 240. And we got our ground clamp. So, really nice materials too. Super thick wire. Look at this stuff, guys. Nice DINS connectors. This is going to be a nice unit. Alright, so let's get the accessories out of the way and we'll actually pull the welder out of the box. Alright, and just so you can see it, this is all North equipment, which Northweld is an amazing company. They make some really nice high-end stuff, so to have this unit packaged with all North equipment is super, super nice. Okay, here's the unit itself. Very nice packaging. Looks good so far. We'll get it out, get it up on the bench, and see what we're working with here. Alright, so not even out of the bag yet, and I can already see that this thing is looking like some nice quality equipment here. So, let's get this bag off of it, and we'll bring it back and show you a little bit about the machine. Alright guys, so here's the machine itself. So far it looks pretty good. There's actually a display right here, and you guys will see that when we turn it on, and then you've got all of your information right here to switch between your different types of welding. And this machine is a multi-process machine. It is spool gun compatible, which is incredible. We do have this very nice Stout Clicky turning knob. We have some really nice covered DINS connectors here. This is so you can switch back and forth between negative and positive, determining whether or not you're doing straight MIG welding or you're doing flux core MIG welding. Again, this machine will do flux core, it will do regular MIG, it will do stick welding and lift TIG welding as well. So, super nice machine. And then one of the most important parts. Let's open up this side panel here and see how our internals look. So as per usual, we have a plastic capstan for our wire, which pretty much every welder on the planet uses a plastic capstan, so that's perfect. But the big thing is this guy right here. So this is what controls all of your wire feed. Now, this also transfers all the power to your wire, all the power to your weld, to your MIG gun, to everything else. And it is super nice to see a complete brass gas block along with a copper conductor to connect it all and big wiring going to that conductor. And then of course you have your all metal and spring-loaded wheel guide for your wire, which is amazing. Having it be completely metal and not plastic is going to be super durable. And then, of course, you have your interchangeable feed roller, which comes off and you can flip it over and, you know, set it for 30 or 35 thousandths wire, whether you're doing flux core or regular MIG, or, you know, just changing your wire sizes. Super nice setup there, very easy to change, very easy to work with. So, and then again, as usual with Riland welders, is you have this wonderful chart, this welding guide. Gives you everything you need to know about your MIG welding parameters, your TIG welding parameters, as well as your stick welding parameters. Shows you how to set the machine up over here so that you can set up the various different types of welding: MIG, flux core, stick welding, and lift TIG. Then you also have, it shows you how to use both the 10-pound spools and the small 5 and 2-pound spools. So great to have a chart there. That's really awesome. I appreciate the fact that they do this, especially for those of you that are getting into welding or might be a little bit unsure about what you need for voltage and amperage and wire size and how to set the machine up. It's all right here at a glance. You don't have to pull the manual out. So that's super cool. And then fit and finish on this thing. So far, looks amazing. Then back here we have our gas inlet. We have our on-off switch, which is a nice clicky switch. And then our input, and I really like this. So this has a 230 volt only plug, but you saw in the previous clip there that we have a box full of items, including the plug to dumb this down to 110 volts. I like that you don't have to use the adapter to run 230 volts, because that's what I run the whole time. And I hate having to run an adapter when I'm on 230 volts because, you know, it's probably minimal, but you lose a little bit of current capacity when you're using an adapter to adapt from 120 to 230, but you don't lose it the other direction around. So I'm very, very happy that Riland actually put the 230 volt 30 amp plug on the unit, and then you can adapt it down to 110 volt. So, and then back here we have all our information on duty cycle for the various types of welding. It is the Multipro 200 SP. It is a 200 amp machine. So overall, for the unboxing portion of this, the fit and finish looks to be really, really nice. I mean, all the lines are super nice. The top cover is really nice. The handle's nice. And a lot of times on these more inexpensive welders, you don't find the fit and finish to be good at all. Like, I could show you some things with some other welders that I have, but I'm not going to do that, where the fit and finish is just terrible. And this is actually really, really nice. So we're going to go ahead and do now is plug this thing in, fire it up, see what this display looks like. We'll go through some of the settings on it, and then we'll play with it a little bit. Okay, so now that we got this thing fired up, let's run through some of the features of this thing. So right here, you've got all of your different types of welding. You have your shielded metal arc welding, which is your stick welding. Then you have your lift TIG, your MIG mix, which is going to be your 75-25 argon CO2 mix. Then you have your MIG CO2 or flux core arc welding. So if we press this button right here, we can change between the different types of welding. So you can see in our stick welding, we can adjust the amperage. In our lift TIG, do the same, 0 to 180 amps. When we get into our MIG mix mode, you're going to notice that it switches to voltage and wire speed. Now this is in inches per minute, which you can see right there. And inches per minute is going to adjust as we adjust our voltage. It's going to automatically adjust the wire speed down. Now that adjusting the wire speed as the voltage is wired is what's called synergistic settings. And those settings will automatically go between the lowest setting, which is 15 volts and 120 inches a minute in wire, all the way up to 20 volts and 440 inches a minute. So now voltage, as you're changing the voltage, obviously your amperage is changing. Some welders do things a little differently. This happens to be one that only gives you voltage, doesn't actually show you what the amperage is, which is fine, because in the side here, like we were saying before, there's that full welding chart along inside here, which will tell you what voltages you need to be at for what thickness of metal. Now the other thing we want to go through is this little indicator right here. Now you can see, maybe you can see, or maybe you can't see. I don't know. But that little indicator right there is for your 2T and 4T. Now a quick explanation of what 2T and 4T are is basically in 2T mode, when you pull the trigger on the MIG gun, you're going to get typical. You pull the trigger, you start welding. To stop welding, you let go of the trigger. In 4T mode, you pull the trigger, start welding, let go of the trigger, and the machine will continue to weld until you pull that trigger one more time to shut it off. So that's a really cool feature to have, especially if you're doing long runs where you could end up fatiguing your trigger finger and then, you know, you get tired. So 4T is kind of nice. We also have a spool gun feature right here, and that won't light up until you actually hook up a spool gun to the machine. Alright, so overall it's a pretty feature-rich machine. It's, you know, what's to be expected nowadays with these multi-process welders. Because what you guys may not know is that a MIG welder, or any welder for that matter, whether it's this MIG, it's this flux core welder, it's the full-blown, you know, water-cooled TIG welder setup, all of these are nothing more than a power supply that provides power to do some form of welding. So being that it's already a power supply, you can hook up a TIG torch to it and TIG weld with it. You can hook up a stick stinger and weld, stick weld. You can do flux core MIG welding. You can do any of that because this unit is literally a power supply. It just matters with these new multi-process units in the fact that you have the settings to accommodate those different things. Like for instance, if you're TIG welding, you don't need wire feed. If you're stick welding, you don't need wire feed. So those are things that you don't need right off the bat, and those are the things that you can set up in this particular welder. Whereas a non-multi-process, you could still do the same thing. However, you'd end up having to either shut off the wire feed manually or take the wire out of it, and the wire would run the whole time while you were... It's just, these machines allow you to do that much easier. So multi-process machine is literally nothing more than a power supply with a bunch of different accessories that plug into it that allow you to do different types of welding. And these newer machines that are coming out of China have been pretty good. So Riland is no surprise that these machines are actually really good. So we're going to go ahead and button up this kind of first look video. And I'm not sure yet if I'm going to actually go into the welding with it. I kind of want to test it out first before I give you guys the final opinion on it, which I may do today. If I do that today, then I'll put it in this video. And I may do it tomorrow. I'll put it in the video, and then you guys can see us actually using it, welding with it, and hopefully enjoying it. So final thoughts on this Riland machine. It works really well. The welds lay super flat. Took a little bit to set it up to get it right, but once you get it set up and everything is good to go, then you're good to go. And as always, you know, with some of these overseas manufacturers, it's a little difficult to read through the instruction manual because the instruction manuals aren't in the greatest of English, but you can get through it, especially if you're familiar with welding. Now this 200 SP is actually a pro machine, as they call it, where you can adjust various things in it. I went through everything and adjusted it, and then we beat the crap out of it on that Jeep that you guys just saw. We didn't even hit the duty cycle. So this thing is working Absolutely perfect. The torch is by Northweld. Really, really high-end torch, so good stuff there. We don't have any issue with that. And then overall, the machine is solid. It's definitely solid. It's got a fan on demand, which is incredible because you don't have to sit here and listen to the fan noise. Isn't it? It's so nice. It was so weird to not hear it too. But the fan comes on when it needs to, and it's not very often, so pretty cool. All right, so this machine is now the second welder that I've tested from Riland, and they haven't let me down on either one of the machines. A lot of times these brands, and you guys haven't even seen some of the brands that have sent me welders because I really don't want to show you even something that's bad. I'll just tell you what not to buy. A bunch of stuff out there that I've been contacted on that I know is trash, and you can tell is trash, but Riland is the real deal. These guys make a hell of a welder, and this machine here, I mean, even the controls are super nice. The buttons are super clicky. You could tell it's very durable. Most of this thing is made out of metal, which a lot of them are made out of plastic. But I have to say, again, Riland makes a super nice machine. All of your connections are incredible. What I love about this machine are the torch, the cabling, the ease of setup, the ease of use. The fact that the entire wire feed system is metal. That's awesome. It's got a 220 volt plug that you can adapt down to 120 volts and not the other way around. So that's super cool. On a 200 amp machine, I always run it on 220 volts, and I hate having to use an adapter to go from a 110 volt plug to 220 volt plug. This one's got the 220 volt plug, and if you want to run it on 110, you adapt it down the other direction, which in my opinion is the way to do it. So Riland got it right on that. Riland also got it right with the fact that the fan comes on demand. When the machine's hot, fan comes on. When the machine's cold, fan turns off. So super nice for me. I hate fans. They drive me crazy. Value, I think, is great because you're still about half the cost of any of the big, the big blue, red, and yellows. So cost-wise, it's very affordable. It's worth every penny of it. You do have the ability to do lift TIG with this machine. You have the ability to do flux core with this machine. You can also run a spool gun with this machine and do aluminum with it. So it's got a ton of options. It's going to fit every last little bit of anything that you need to do. And I mean, you can weld up to, 1/4 inch plate with this thing, or even higher than that if you do preheat on it. So this machine right here is going to be your best all-around machine for just having in your garage and enjoying it. So definitely a really, really, really nice pick from Riland. Thank you guys again, Riland, for sending this thing out to me to test. It's quite impressive. All right, so that's the Riland Multipro 200 SP. Nice little welder. All right, so now let me tell you guys that we're going to be doing videos every Sunday. And by every Sunday, I mean not quite every Sunday because the last video came out on Monday. But we're going to try to do videos every single Sunday. And those videos are going to include a bunch of stuff. It's going to be Jeep related. It's going to be welder related. It's going to be just random related. Just trying to bring you guys some cool stuff. Right now, we got a ton of welders coming in. I think we have 2 more welders coming in that we need to test out. So that'll be 3 in total because I have a new welder that you guys haven't even seen yet that I need to test out. It's quickly becoming a welder review channel. But we're gonna mix it up a little bit here and there. I know you guys are probably tired of seeing the Jeeps, or if you're not tired of seeing the Jeeps, then great. We have a Silverado coming in very soon. We've got a couple Toyotas coming in pretty soon. So we'll kind of diversify the content a little bit, but you guys can expect a video every single Sunday. And hopefully you enjoy those. And hopefully you enjoy these welding videos because, I actually like making them. I like testing out these machines and seeing how they stack up to stuff that costs 3 times as much as what they do. As far as longevity goes, I don't really have any long-term information on this particular welder, but I highly think that this is going to be just fine for a very long time. So, hope you guys enjoyed that video. I will see you all on the next one next Sunday, and if I don't talk to you during the week, have a good week. See you guys later.